Hello, John the tax attorney here with the tip of the day. Go to my website if you have any questions about tax problems. My website is johnthetaxattorney.com, and you'll be able to look at some of the solutions that I posted there with regard to what solutions are available to you as someone who may have a liability to the IRS. Okay, today's topic that I'm going to talk about is appealing IRS decisions. Okay, first of all, there are two times when you should not try to pursue an appeal with the IRS. And these are the two times when usually your appeal is premature. Just because you owe the IRS money doesn't mean that you have the right to appeal. Okay, and some people will do that because they think that the time or that the amount of money that they owe to the IRS is too much, and so they try to appeal that decision. But there's things that you can do prior to trying to appeal an IRS decision. So that's the first way in which your decision to appeal an IRS decision is premature. The second way is when you've received correspondence from the IRS which has no mention in it of any appeal rights. Usually the IRS will send, along with the decision that they've made against you, they'll send a notice that gives you rights to appeal, such as with an audit, you have 30 days to appeal the audit decision. And but if it's just a decision that the IRS sends out as far as their determination that you owe money, usually that doesn't have an appeal time. Now, if there's a notice of lien or a notice of levy, that's a different story. And there are other things that are out there as far as the IRS is concerned, notices that they send that you should appeal, like a lien or a levy. And so then that way you can stop the collection action. Now, what are the types of things that you can do as far as things that you can appeal? What type of decisions can you appeal? Well, you can appeal audit findings, you can appeal penalty and interest, you can appeal rejected offers or rejected installment agreement requests. You can appeal, as I said before, levies, liens. You can appeal a seizure, you can appeal a garnishment, or any other collection action. Now, a garnishment, levy, they're one and the same, so it's when they take your money out of your bank account. And so you can appeal those decisions, and you have 30 days from the date in which, in most of these cases, you have 30 days from the date of the filing. Now, make sure you look at your notice before you just take my word that you have 30 days. You got to look at the notice of the appeal time, and then you have to appeal in a timely manner within that time period. So those are some of the things that you want to do. Now, if you fall into the first two categories of what I was talking about earlier, as far as when the IRS is determined that you owe money, or you've received a letter and you dispute the letter, there are some things that you can do with the IRS in order to make that, in order to try to either lower the amount or spread out the time for payment so that you're not feeling stressed out over having to pay it all in one lump sum. Now, you need to go to a competent tax attorney who can help you to make the determination to fill out the proper forms in order to be able to determine what programs you are eligible for. Now, some of the programs that are out there are an offer and compromise, installment agreements. Now, there are simple installment agreements, streamlined installment agreements, and partial pay installment agreements. You can also try to get yourself put into non-collectible status, or currently not collectible, or CNC. Those are some of the other names that are known. Yeah, offer and compromise, as I said before, which is also known as an OIC, which is basically a settlement with the IRS. Now, what you need to remember on those is that the IRS doesn't take into account a percentage that you can pay to them. All of the IRS solutions to your problems are determined on your ability to pay. And in most cases, when you're in your worst financial condition, is the best time to try to enter into an installment. Most people try to wait until they get some more money in order to be able to solve their tax problem, but then what happens is that their income increases, and you go and fill out the documents, and then the IRS looks at it and says, hey, you're making more money now. We want more money from you now that you're making more money. So your worst financial condition is the best time to settle with the IRS. Now, one of the things that you got to remember is that a lot of the solutions that the IRS has for you, they will reject. 85% of all offer and compromise proposals were rejected back in 2006. So you got to take that into account. Okay, and so you have to remember that you got to remember that you got to appeal on time. It's one of the most important things is to appeal on time, and then you can take it to the next level and go to the appeals officer, and then they can determine, and you can really, an IRS attorney can sit down and discuss with these appeals officers whether or not the rejection was proper or improper, and discuss the reasoning. Where when you first file an offer in compromise, the IRS usually doesn't let. Well, I've never been involved in an offer in compromise, acceptance or rejecting, and never had to talk to them about whether or not they were going to accept or reject it, or whether or not they wanted more comment or more documentation. They just either accepted or rejected it, and then I had to go to appeals in order to be able to talk to them. So it seems like an automatic thing that they reject offers in compromise. Anyway, a good tax attorney will be able to help you through the process, and then if you need to go to appeals, that a tax attorney can help you get through appeals and be able to help you through the process. So remember that a final decision or a decision on one of these solutions that I've discussed with you is usually not a final decision. As we said, you can go to appeals, and if that fails, you also may have the right to go to tax court. So if you have any questions on how to solve your tax problems, you can call me at 208-522-1207. That's 522-1207 here in Eastern Idaho. But 208-522-1207. Call me for your free consultation. Also, you can look up my website and my blog at johnthetaxattorney.com. Once again, that's johnthetaxattorney.com. Now, don't wait for your tax problems to get too big. Don't put them off, because the IRS is always out there. If you have tax problems, it's better to get them solved sooner than later. Once again, John Osai at johnthetaxattorney.com, 208-522-1207. Have a great one.